Boots and Backstraps, brought to you by Homes by Shayne and produced by Danny Geo Productions.
Come on now.
We're talking about boots and backstraps.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Boots and Backstraps podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Boots and Backstraps. I'm your host, Shane Michael, and I'm joined by my very enthusiastic and excited co-host, Tom Katt.
Come on now.
How we doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm excited.
I know. I think I just said that.
Well, yeah, I'm excited.
Not
One of
only
my oldest friends is on tonight.
What else?
And we've got a very expensive bottle of bourbon that you're going to explain.
Yeah.
And we're headed next week to South Dakota antelope hunting.
That's why I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm always excited before we go on a trip.
Yeah. We spent I think you were talking before we started filming about the day we had and prepping the new hunting shack.
Got a new hunting rig, and we're dragging it out to South Dakota, and we got the wheels all greased up and new rubber and cleaned inside, and kind of we're going to break it in. It's already broke in. It's kind of an old camper, but we should have took a picture of it and put it on the screen.
It's great shape. Well, Danny's got photos. She can mix those in throughout the show. I will say, in sort of like a public apology to you, I didn't mean to give you the short end of the stick on the lighting there. So just for the viewing audience, or listening audience, I guess it doesn't matter. There's several lights inside the camper, and they had sort of old school regular bulbs in them. And I said, you know what? This thing is hauling down the road. The bulbs are potentially going to burn out. We got to go LED because they'll be brighter. They'll last longer. We'll never have to worry about them again, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. That's great.
Ordered LED, and then once I got in there cleaning today and I crawled underneath where your bunk is, there's 3 more lights under there I didn't see. So had to order some more bulbs. But luckily, they'll be here to your place in time for us to leave on Sunday. So
they will be, and it doesn't matter if they're not. All we need is some food, our bows, a license.
Which is a story unto itself.
God, is it ever.
All right, so I tell you what, as you mentioned, we do have a fantastic bottle of bourbon. This is by far the most expensive bottle that we've had on the show. This is a Chestnut Farms bottled and bonded bottle. And we talked when we had the Old Forester bourbon on here about the Bottled and Bonded Act of 1897 and that whole thing where bourbon got legislated, that kind of thing. So most distilleries, when they have a bottled and bonded bourbon, it's one that's following those regulations to the T, and inevitably always making the bottle more expensive. Now, the bourbon's always better that way because of those regulations, but this one falls right in line with that. So the big thing with Chestnut Farm is that they do use a Colorado mineral spring water exclusively for their distillation, and this is a Barton distillery bottle versus some of the other ones that we've had where we've had Brown-Forman and things like that. This one's a Barton. That's our first Barton bottle. So we will get right into this sucker.
For those of you that are wondering, Shane has become quite the bourbon aficionado, and this is not kind of a new episode on our show where we feature a different bottle every week. Is this from
That's Kentucky.
Kentucky?
Yeah. That one's Kentucky bourbon, yeah. But they use Colorado spring water for it.
You're going to like that, Robin.
You want to give her a smell here, my friend, before we fill up the glasses?
It smells kind of good.
Yeah, you want to hand me your glass, and we'll pour you first as the guest. And while we're doing that, TK, why don't we give your buddy over here an intro?
Hey, everyone. This is one of my oldest friends. We met when I was doing the Rowdy Cowboy show at Alligators, and his brother was a bartender there, Rory. And Rory and I got to talking, and as typical, I started talking about hunting. He says, "Are you a hunter?" He said, "Well, you got to meet my brother. He's a crazy hunter," and blah blah blah. And as a matter of fact, we're having a party at Robin's house like next week. And so I called Robin and he said, "Come on over." He's always the more the merrier. And so everyone was partying and drinking and having fun. And me and Robin are looking at elk pictures and talking hunting for like hours. And that was the year he took me on my very first elk hunt. And we're going to share some stories from that hunt and many, many more. I mean, Robin is the Elk Whisperer. He's got a few nicknames.
We've mentioned his Elk Whisperer nickname probably 100 times on this podcast already.
No kidding.
So finally we get his rear end in the seat over here.
And Elkaholic. And I don't know. I've been around. You've been around. A lot of our viewers have been around in the hunting world. But when it comes to elk hunting, there's a lot of guys that live in the mountains that are maybe excellent and exceptional elk hunters. But in Minnesota, in this part of the country, I don't think there's anyone better at elk hunting and knows more about it and has the proof on his walls than Robin does. I'd say, Robin, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you've got at least a half a dozen, maybe 8, 300, 350 bulls on your walls, correct?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Yeah, you got
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's actually intro him. Danny's impatient.
This is Robin Mysliwiec, my old buddy Rockin' Robin.
All right.
And I guess I didn't really actually introduce you, did I?
No.
We just been kind of free-flowing. And
I'm like, tell everybody his name.
I got you.
Well, let's get a clink and a drink here, boys. We get some good bourbon in the house.
Well, as promised, we've always tried to have very colorful people on our podcast, and there ain't nobody more colorful than that guy right there.
That is delicious.
I can be.
You can be. And if we have too much of this, you'll see some real color coming out.
It's called sipping whiskey. Do it slow, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't shoot this stuff.
No, this is great.
Save that for the trash on the rail at the bar.
All the fun years we've had elk hunting, I can't wait to tear into some of the stories. But why don't you start grilling Robin over there with some of the questions that we've got for him?
Well, yeah, grill is probably the best way of putting it, my friend. I'm going to put you in the hot seat and ask you a bunch of shit because people want to know about you. So in case you didn't figure it out, this episode is about you. And what we like to start with is maybe going back to your roots for hunting and how you got involved in being in the outdoors, all that stuff.
Well, when I was younger, my dad took us out deer hunting, 10 years old, and started deer hunting, and then that was bow hunting. Then rifle came when we were 12. And then I deer hunted for another 10, 11 years, shot a lot of deer, and we shoot them to eat them. We like to eat them.
Yeah.
There's no trophy thing going on.
Yeah.
And then the elk hunt started about when I was 22, I think, 23 years old. And once I started that, I was hooked. Couldn't stop it.
So is it the meat? Because I know elk is my favorite.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
And yes, we can shoot a trophy and put it on the wall. It looks great, Mm-hmm. I try to utilize the animal every which way I can, as much as I can.
Yep.
But eating it's number one with any animal that I kill. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing, and that's what it should be,
So was it your dad that got you into elk too then?
No, he didn't. Buddies got me into it.
They said, hey, you've been shooting a lot of deer from a deer stand. Let's get you out in the mountains, huh?
Well, and watching the shows on TV, that's the biggest part. You're watching them, and I got to try this one.
Shows on TV back then? That must have been black and white.
Yeah,
huh?
it was. But yeah, you watch the shows and finally you say, I got to do that, and we started doing it, and we've been hooked ever. It's been 35, 36 years.
Wow.
Elk hunting.
Yep. Let me interject. I got to tell you, one of the things I admire most about Robin is he gets it. A lot of hunters, I'm sorry to say, don't get it. Robin gets it. He hunts, if you hunt as much as he does and as hard as he hunts,
he does.
He's built for the mountains. God, he'd leave me in the dust so many times up in the mountains. But if you hunt as long and as hard as he does, you're going to get some trophies. But he just loves the meat, wants to bring home the meat, feed himself and his family. And with Robin, it's the more the merrier. He's not like, nah, you can't come. You don't know how to do this. He likes everyone to come in, and he shares in the fun with them. And
I can attest to that because you got to drag this greenhorn up in the mountains, and he welcomed you right into camp with open arms.
Yeah, and, I wish more hunters were like Robin. Everyone's invited, and let's kill as much elk as we can, and we have. And I've gotten one real nice trophy with Robin. But, like you said, like Robin says, they're all trophies. you know, especially with the archery equipment. And I killed a nice bull with Robin that's actually right over your head with a muzzle loader. But we've got a lot of elk with archery, and it's just always... I'm sorry, I'm kind of dragging this on, but Robin gets it when it comes to hunting and ethics and, you know, utilizing the animal, feeding your family.
And I think, Robin, you were talking about people always see the mount on the wall and think, oh, you're just putting a mount on the wall. But it's about the story behind it, right?
Oh,
absolutely. And let me backtrack a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's about the experience with your friends and newcomers. It ain't about the kill. The kill is a bonus. Well, I always tell everybody that it's a bonus.
You bet.
You get one, it's like, wow, you know, that's great. But being out in the mountains, in the woods, anywhere, in any state, it's just beautiful to be outdoors, you know.
Oh, absolutely. I've been with some of your younger friends that you brought out that have never elk hunted. The gentleman that got married, Nick, who got married, me and Steve Woog convinced him that he should get married, so he did.
Yeah.
Now, he killed a bull with you that time.
He got one. Yeah.
We
Took
got
him a year or two, I think it was. But
okay.
Oh, I thought maybe that was his first trip with you.
No, he'd been out a couple times with us.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a good young guy, and I mean, to see those young guys that you've brought out and see the wide-eyed, even if we killed a bull or if you killed a bull, just to see their eyes and their expression and the excitement and. Unfortunately,
I'm getting aroused just thinking about it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that year that the three of us were together, along with Hunter, your son, they had a lot of big forest fires going on in the mountains, and that's the year I lost a lot of my eyesight because we were camped for quite a long time, and there was hardly any oxygen in the air, coupled with the altitude, coupled with the smoke and the ash and the dust in the air. That's how I kind of lost some of the eyesight. But that's one of the only trips I ever remember that we got skunked.
Yeah.
But we still had fun.
Robin, tell us about your first elk hunt. You said you went with your buddies. Do you remember what state it was?
Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Roosevelt?
Yep.
Okay.
Bigger elk. They're a bigger bodied elk than the Rocky Mountain elk.
Right,
Sure.
right.
And I shot a cow one time, and it was back about 3 miles. And we didn't have no GPSs back then. And so I start marking my trail with the flag tape.
Yep.
Well, before I got to the road, I run out of flag tape. You have your compass, and you just try to go one direction to get back out to the road.
Yeah.
Well, I was close enough I could hear a truck go on the road, and I made it out. But we took the elk out with all the bones and everything in it.
Oh.
And we'll never. That was the first and last I ever did.
Even as a cow, that must have been
Yeah, it was a lot of meat and bones.
400 or 500 pounds.
Oh,
probably.
absolutely. So we debone all our elk now
Yep.
before we take them out. We don't bring any bones out anymore, except the horns if you get one with a bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave Danny one of the photos of Danny's our producer. I gave her a photo of you and Steve Woog working over that elk that Steve shot.
Do we got that one, Danny?
She's got a lot of pictures to go through. We got a lot of pictures we're going to put on the podcast tonight. And, man, those bring back, at my age and all the hunting I've done, some of these pictures are just give me goosebumps.
Is it the one that they're cutting it up?
Yep.
Okay.
2 guys. There it is.
Yep.
That's a nice bull.
That's
Yeah,
the
that
one
was a good
Steve
one.
got.
That's
That's
nice.
Steve on his knees there. And, Robin's on his knees too. But that's a nice 6x6. And
Was this the first time Steve got the chance to field dress it?
Yeah, he's helped with
He's
some
helped
other
with
ones.
the other ones, yeah.
So a cow
seems like-
is just a female and
Right.
a bull's a male,
Yeah.
and that goes for elk and moose, right?
And deer.
and deer.
And deer. Okay.
Well, deer, it's buck and
Buck and
doe.
a doe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so just it kind of depends on the species, because like antelope, it's also buck and doe. But yeah,
Or with Tom Blajeski, it's a buck and a heifer.
He's a farmer, yeah.
Yeah.
in the photo, it looked like you're maybe giving them some instruction.
Well,
there.
we're letting them learn a little bit because we usually get in there and get them done, and we're done. It's time we let the greenhorns do a little practice on them.
Yeah.
I learned, I've certainly butchered a lot of elk with Robin and other people, but I've learned sometimes when you get around Sudsy and Robin and then you got the knives flying.
Yeah, you better
okay,
watch
I'm just
out.
going to separate stuff here. I'm going to stand back.
When we were in South Dakota a couple years ago, when I shot that antelope, he just kind of got to going, and I was like, I want to get some blood. I mean, it sounds grotesque, but
I want to help too.
Yeah, I want to get some blood on my hands. It's my first animal.
He shot, his first animal ever. Well, the first hunt he went on was that elk hunt. I mean, that's a big first hunt.
Yeah.
Archery elk hunting in the Colorado
That was
mountains.
yeah, you did tell us that.
And then the next year, we go antelope hunting, and he just zinged an antelope at 60 yards. And folks, I know some of you might think that's
Here
unethical.
we go. The disclaimer.
But we practiced long and hard at 60, 70 yards, and he drilled that thing.
I was about a 2-inch group at 60, so
He put that arrow through
tight.
both legs
Good, yeah.
and the heart.
For the layman's, he's saying it's sometimes unethical to shoot from that far away because
Right.
you can't really get the shot. You would just injure, not
Right.
you would wound, not kill. But
right.
Shane,
But at any rate, we
slayed
grabbed
it.
that animal. We didn't want to.
We were shooting a lot that year.
We didn't want to dress it out right there for fear of all the coyotes just hanging out in that area and blowing all the antelope out. So we put it in the rig, drove down to this big radio tower. It's just kind of an open space. And I pulled it. All of a sudden, we were surrounded by a herd of cattle.
Angus
Hundreds.
surrounded us.
Hundreds of them, and we're like, get away from us! We're trying to cut this animal up.
What's
Anyway.
funny is when we were pulling in past that radio tower, you could, because it was black, it was dark out, you could see some movement barely out there. And we're like, what's going on? He turned the headlights on, and they're like right there.
Just hundreds of them. But anyway, that was a fun experience. But yeah, getting the animal down, get the meat off the bones, and watching Robin. And another ethical thing that he doesn't waste an ounce of meat. He gets all the rib meat. He gets all of the neck. There's a lot of meat on an elk's neck, and nothing goes to waste. It's burger and stew meat.
Here we go. There's this. I see Steve.
Robin's in the middle, and that's either me. I can't really see it.
Who is on the far left there?
it's not Tom.
Dave Zebro.
Dave Zebro.
Is that Dave?
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at that rag.
That's a good one, yeah.
That's a great picture.
I never understood how you would carry it, so I appreciate this picture.
Well, those packs are called moose packs, and we all have them. Robin has
Frame packs.
a few, and I have got a couple, and you can fill those things up with easily 500-600 pounds of meat.
no kidding.
Not that you can carry that much meat. Maybe he can, but I can't.
Not anymore.
But
So-
isn't that a great photo? And typically, these things, I can remember when Robin one time, we were in Idaho, and you shot a nice bull on top of one of the mountains we were hunting. And that particular, there were 6 of us. So it's not bad if you got 6 guys to pack an elk out. But Wheels was with us, and you guys, I had the horns on my back, and you guys all had a race to the bottom. You never seen anything like it. Some of the guys are tumbling down, ass over tea cuddles, and they're all racing. I'm like, I'm not racing. I got antlers on my back, and that's all I need is a trip and get gored.
So anyway, Robin,
So
are you still here?
I'm here.
Okay. So did you have success on your first hunt, your first elk hunt?
That was absolutely,
The
yeah,
Roosevelt.
that was the cow elk that I shot, yeah.
Yep.
Female.
Okay, good.
Yep. And pretty much everyone after that, too.
Yeah.
Haven't been skunked too many times.
Well, not many times, no.
No, that one year.
Yep.
So your passion, because I know you still hunt deer, but it sounds like maybe just kind of deer and elk because you only have so many trips in a year, right?
Yeah, I used to bird hunt years ago, and then I got into elk hunting, big game hunting, and then you just don't have time to do all of it. You know?
No.
Got to have time for work, a little time for work in the fall.
Oh, that's a whole nother story, isn't it, Robin?
Yeah.
I took Robin down to Iowa pheasant hunting one year.
Yeah.
We shot some birds, had some fun. I'll never forget that deal. Forgive me, I'm going to be sharing stories all night long. I'm sitting on my bed, he's sitting on his bed, and I thought he was joking. He says, as soon as my head hits a pillow, I'm snoring. And he laid down, and I'm telling you, instantly, not even a few seconds, instantly, he was snoring. I'm like, are you just messing with me? And
Well, I know
couldn't
he
wake him
snores
up.
because I heard him. We weren't even in his tent, and I heard him when we were up there in Colorado.
Yeah, you better be a good sleeper if you can hunt with this guy. That's for sure. What do we got here? Who is that guy, Robin?
That's Teddy. Do you remember Teddy?
Oh, yeah. I love that picture. That's an Idaho.
One of my favorite pictures. We shot a big bull here.
Is that Gant Ridge?
The day before we were leaving. Yeah, it's Gant Ridge, right straight behind.
You want to know how I know? The switchbacks behind you?
Yeah, it's steep.
Those go up to that Lost Spring.
It's called Little Deer Creek, or Big Deer Creek right there. Yeah.
So tell us about that
cool
story.
Picture.
Were you hunting bow or are you hunting rifle?
Well, that's rifle.
Okay.
And the night before, we worked our way up. If you drop down, it'd take you about half an hour to get to the road.
Okay.
We worked our way up the night before, and we found a big herd of elk up there. And that's a fire burn. They were eating the new grass that's there. And I seen him way far out there the day before, and I said, well, let's go after him in the morning. So we came back an hour before the sun came up and walked right on top of him and shot him. Yeah, they didn't move 100 yards from where I left them the night before.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they got all those new shoots they're eating, right?
Yeah, they were the whole herd. There was a herd of them laying there.
I would have said, maybe we can just throw a tarp up in a tree and sleep right here.
Oh, we walked back down, went to camp, and came back up. But we got up real early in the morning when you know there's a herd of elk out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how far back in was that?
We were about 3 miles back.
Okay. 3 miles off base camp or 3 miles off the road?
Well, 3 miles off the road and 3 miles up the hill.
Okay.
Call it 6 because we could drive to the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I see one of the questions you were going to ask him is weaponry. Do you prefer bow or do you prefer rifle?
I love both of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But I like the rifle one because it's much easier.
Yeah.
And so we're going to bring meat home usually with rifle.
Yeah.
And 300 Weatherby is my favorite cartridge for elk hunting.
Yep.
It works real well.
So what's your rifle of choice then?
My what?
The rifle that you use when you're hunting.
I got a 300 Weatherby mountain rifle.
Okay.
It's a Remington gun.
Oh, Remington, okay.
Yeah. Then I suggest if you do go elk hunting, don't bring a small gun with you.
Yeah.
So what about like 30-06?
Yeah.
Perfect.
They got bullets for them. You get the right bullet, it works.
Okay.
But the bigger gun, the bigger elk are bigger than the deer. You want to have more power, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go. I hear stories about guys using a 270, and I think
For elk?
for elk, yeah.
They work. They got
They
bullets.
work. They got big bullets for those. I've shot all of my with rifle. I've shot all my elk with my 30-06, and I've never lost one. And
Here's yours, Tom. This is your. You said this was your
Oh.
muzzle loader, right?
I was with Robin, and I shot that with a muzzleloader. Yeah.
Yeah, we called that in. I did, and Lester hit it in the leg with the arrow, and you got it with the muzzleloader.
We're all kind of strung out on the side of a hill, and he's coming up out of a creek bottom, and he's walking. I was thinking he was going to come to these guys, and I went kind of because I had the muzzleloader and everyone else had bows, so I wanted to be fair, and I just went way off to the right because I was thinking they're calling. He's going to come up to them. Well, I look over to my right. I'm on the right, and here he is coming up from the right, and he's walking right at me. And bang, I shot at the same time Lester, his cousin, had released an arrow at him. And so when we finally were butchering him, there was a slice up
On
above
his
his
leg,
hoof.
yeah.
And he said, I did get him. I drew first blood. That's my elk.
Oh, boy.
No, he didn't do all that, but he's
Can
he's a pretty funny character.
You can hunt in a party with rifle and
Well,
and
this is a muzzleloader.
bow.
So the thing is most of the time, depending on state, well, most states, archery goes, that season's really long. Like they just let it roll right through gun seasons. But gun seasons are obviously shorter, so.
Not gun, only muzzleloader season.
Right.
The bow you can bow hunt through, not with a rifle. You can't.
Okay,
No.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So there are different. So muzzle loaders you can do with bow.
Yeah, they'll
there's
overlap.
Okay, but not with rifle.
Typically,
That's good though, because like you wouldn't want to
Because like deer archery goes through the end of the year,
shoot people.
but you just can't use a bow that rifle weekend. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you
You
can
can.
in Minnesota. People don't.
you got to wear blaze orange.
Yeah.
Yep.
You mean don't go out there with your deer hat on?
Or your antelope
No.
hat?
You're rattling
Antelope
horns. You're rattling horns.
Right, exactly. When the Orange Army's coming through the forest.
So
Yeah,
that's
do you know-
actually something that I didn't realize. So when you guys hunt with bow or a muzzleloader, you're in all camo, and then if it's rifle, that's the blaze orange.
Yep. Yep.
Any firearm, you got to wear blaze orange.
Muzzleloader, you're supposed to wear a vest.
Yeah, just a vest and
Orange vest.
hat,
Orange
maybe.
vest. Yeah.
Cool.
Did you know that both Wheels and I think Dave Miller too? They're both colorblind.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I knew Wheels was. Yeah.
I might be wrong about Dave, but I think of someone else we know is colorblind as well. You can't see blaze orange. That ain't you, is it?
What?
You can see blaze orange, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I
I'm
was
not
looking at
colorblind.
this bottle, Shane, and it's like, do you realize that you poured half that bottle in our glasses?
No, the girls had some too.
Oh, okay.
We just wanted to drink $50 worth of whiskey today.
Well, that makes sense.
Thank you, Shane.
You're very welcome. Yeah, if we don't
That is really good whiskey.
if we don't
My
bring
It is
any of it home,
really
I'm going to be
good.
fine.
It is really
it's
good.
fine. I bought it especially for tonight because we got the Elk Whisperer.
Today's
here.
whiskey brought to you by Homes by Shane.
Yeah, nicely done, Danny. No doubt. I did use the business card for that, so
As you should. As
yeah,
you should.
because Emily would see it, she'd be like, what's this? Don't you worry
Work
about none.
expense.
It's Nunya. How about this
There,
one here, Robin?
there's
That
a
is
young Robin
that's a
Mysliwiec.
big bull.
Yeah, it's my best one with the bow there. Colorado.
What do
Is
you
that-
think he scored?
He was 311. It was
311.
It's a 7x7.
Oh, is
Jeez.
it?
Yeah,
So I say we're in Colorado, but what part of Colorado is
right
it
up
in?
the trail where we were.
Right up. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's amazing.
So I'll get the story here. You guys gonna let me tell a story or?
What do you think?
I don't know.
Tom?
I've got so many stories, but I tell you what, you should interject whenever you want.
I got to tell a quick story on this one since the picture's up.
Please
there.
don't make it quick. I want to listen to your voice for a while.
So we have to start with the whiskey thing. You guys are doing a whiskey thing, all right? We drank whiskey the night before,
Okay.
till about midnight. Whether that's good or bad, it's tough when you get up in the morning. Anyway, we got up hour before light and we walked up about 3-4 miles up the mountain, and we're coming back down that trail at 1:30 in the afternoon. And I'm calling every now and again, you know, and he didn't bugle at all, but I looked over and he was looking at us, and
You snuck in.
he was standing there walking away from the trail actually, and he turned his head and I seen a horn. I didn't even know how big it was. And it was 43 yards, we found out. We paced it off. And I hit him right there behind the shoulder.
You can see the shot there.
Yeah.
Great shot.
And he went running off, and he only went a couple hundred yards. And this is the nickname bull we've named for years on that trail was called Bubba.
Okay.
And my buddies I hunted with that live in Colorado, we came down. We didn't cut it up yet until we come down and get our packs. And I told him we got Bubba, and he looked at me like, "No, you didn't." And we had a video. My
Who was
buddy
that?
had. There's a couple buddies of Randy Marks.
Yeah.
That's where we started hunting with
Right,
them
right.
out there. And so we had a video camera going too. We were trying to video. You know, we didn't get nothing, but he videoed when we were gutting it out. And we showed him. We said, "Look, it's right here." And he looks at it. No, yeah, we went running back up the hill to get it. They were all excited. Yeah.
Now you gotta when you leave the bull, you gotta throw your tag on it.
Oh,
though.
absolutely. Yeah, we validate your tag and leave it right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just because
Yep.
somebody come along and help themselves to your
Yeah.
meat, maybe a bad deal there. So how many pack outs was that guy?
Well, it was one. We deboned it, but we had 5 of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got 5 guys. That's
Yeah.
with a big set of horns. That's perfect.
Well, I think we had to go back for the horns because the thing
Oh, really?
is, you got to take the meat out first.
Right.
The horns are last, regardless of how big it is, because it don't matter.
Get the meat on
The
the
law is take the meat out first. Yeah.
Tell the story about that bull you shot up the trail, and you and I. Well, it was further up the trail, way up the trail, up and over, and you and I pulled out the head and the horns. Remember that? Oh man!
It's a long way.
Well, it was heavy. This was a huge bull, and huge horns.
And it's just the two of you?
And it's just, well, we had other guys there packing meat up, and me and Robin pulled, and it was down in a hole. And we pulled it up out of the hole, carrying those horns.
No,
and,
tell her to put that one on her. That wasn't the same trail. That was Idaho. That big one in Idaho. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, there's a picture.
No, it's Colorado, but it was up right real close to the zone 5 or 50.
Which picture is it?
Remember that trail we'd park all the four-wheelers on, on the spine of the mountains?
I don't remember that one.
And then if you went over, it wasn't our zone to hunt in, but we were over. We weren't in the wrong zone.
No, but
I think it was Colorado.
It's this one.
There we go.
Anyway, you and I pulled them horns out of that hole, and that was, well, you can tell the story.
I think it's this one right here.
She's going through her picture. So we did is we had a bunch of like actual photographs for tonight that Robin brought, and Tom. Did you have some, or were they all?
Oh
Robin's?
Yeah, some of them she's shown.
Nope.
No, I took that picture.
Did you give her that? Yeah. That was an Oregon one there.
That's another story. These guys used to drive out to Oregon.
27 hours, yeah.
27 hours out to Oregon. Now listen to this, Shane.
It's 27 from the cities? Wow.
They'd hunt, for a week at least. They'd kill a bunch of elk. They'd load it up. They'd bring it back to Minnesota. And they'd spend, a day or however long it took. And they'd butcher all their elk. They'd do all of their laundry. They get all their gear reset, and then they go back out to Colorado.
Idaho. No, we go to Idaho.
Right.
Yeah, the
Idaho.
rifle hunt in Idaho, yeah.
So this is the one you're talking about?
This is the one we pulled the head out of the hole, me and you.
That's a massive.
That's my biggest right there, yeah.
Was that in Idaho?
That was Idaho.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was Colorado.
No, that's the one where me and you pulled the head out.
Yeah.
You and Steve were there. That was Steve's first year there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Robin, how many pounds of meat you get off a guy like that?
Well, that one's about 400 at least.
Wow.
400 or 500.
I was thinking more like 6.
Dang.
But
because that's like an 900 pound one there.
right.
Yeah,
He's about 350, 360, I'm guessing.
Jeez.
I never had him scored, but he's my biggest in the house there.
Well, I'm proud to say that I helped you carry them horns and head out of the. I mean, you got the horns, you have the head, and then you have the cape.
I thought the other one was the biggest one.
The biggest
This
by
is
a weight.
this is a rifle kill on this one.
The other
Copy
one was
that.
as big
The
as
other
both.
one was an archery kill.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm new to this game.
Yeah. We'll straighten you out.
Oh, I know it. I count on it.
Oh, here we go.
But I want to hear about
It's all
this.
downhill from here.
I want to hear about this hunt. So tell me about how you did your. Obviously, it's a spot and stock because that's how you roll.
Well, yeah,
You like
chase
to
them
run and
down,
gun.
chase them down, and that was you guys are there. This was the last day. It was, remember?
I do remember.
Almost the last. Half the crew left, so we went out. There was 3 other guys. 1, 2. There was 5 of us or 6 of us.
I remember going way up to the top, and there was a power line where I was watching where the bulls would cross or elk would cross, and you hammered that one. And
He was like 6 miles back from the wheeler on that one. Yeah,
and we got him guttered out, and then remember we ran into those
them
other
guys,
people,
and they told us we
and
took
his
it
son
right
was
out the other way.
His son was hunting that particular elk all season long, and he never got a shot at it, and then we got it, and the guy was real nice about it. I mean, that's hunting. Unfortunately, his son didn't get it, but Robin did, and the next day we went back up there and butchered it all up, and you and I got the pleasure of dragging that horn and head off. That was fun.
It was heavy.
It's all fun, even when it's hard work. I mean, I got stories after stories. Can I tell another one?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Can we stop you?
Nope. I've told Shane and I've told a lot of people this is the story when Robin saved my life.
Hold on, before you tell the story.
Yeah.
I bought this shirt in honor of that story.
You know, I looked
there
at
it
that
is,
shirt and I saw that in your van, and that's immediately went through my
Shane,
head.
can you move over just a teeny bit
I
so
was
we
telling-
can see it? There you go. All right, there it is.
That's pretty much what Robin did right there.
I was telling your lovely wife that I wore the shirt tonight in honor of Robin being here because of this story. So
Well, we were in Idaho, and this 5-point bull that Robin shot.
Pictures there with me and you in it.
Yeah.
Tell her to put that one up, then you can talk about it.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I'll do it.
You tell her.
I forgot. Yeah.
It's not quite as representative because Tom's got the elk on his back here, and that should have been the other guy.
Well, I don't know when we brought the horns up, but we went way back in. And Robin's one of the best callers you'll ever meet, and he's calling. And I forgot about the first part of that story. So we go. If you've ever been in the mountains, he was like 4 ridges over, and we kept going and going and going. And we got closer and closer,
yeah.
And he had cows with him. And Robin and I are sitting next to each other.
Is that Robin with Burt Reynolds?
Or something.
Young Tom Katt.
And that bull was so full of testosterone. He stood broadside. Robin and I are sitting on a log, or we crouched by a log, and Robin could see the bull, but there was a pine tree. I could not see the bull. And all I could see was Robin just putting bullet after bullet out there. He cranked 5 of them out there.
So you're like, is he shooting at the tree?
I'm like, what the hell? All of a sudden, he grabs me by the shoulder, drags me over. He's still standing right there. Shoot him. And he's doing this. Shoot him. And I'm like, let go of me, and I will. So I sent a couple bullets up there. Well, he was so full, it went by. Long story short, when we caped him out and got him out, he had a pile of holes in him. He didn't know he was dead. He was just standing there.
He was rutting real hard.
And so Robin wasn't missing. It was just that the elk wasn't responding. So anyway, it ran off, and we were so far back in there. And after we got done, gutting them and then butchering them, I'm like, how in the world are we going to get this? Is like up and down and up and down and up and down. And I said, you know what? Do you hear that? There was a car below us going along one of the roads. And I said, you know what? I'd rather just take this thing straight down the mountain, and the road's right there, and then we'll figure it out from there, because that was going to be an all 2-day deal, getting it out the way we were going to come, the way we came in. So we did. Anyway, it went down to a river, and it was one of those cool mountain rivers, and all the boulders and some white water. But then we had to go like 90 feet up this rock grade, to get to the road. So we go through there, we go through the river, all's fine, we're carrying a lot of meat, and Robin's in front of me, and we're climbing up boulder to boulder, and some of the rocks are slipping a little bit, but we're going up. And I can remember seeing Robin's boots. He's standing on the road, and I just peeked my eyes over, and everything. I grabbed a rock, and everything started giving way underneath me, and I was done. I mean, I knew in my head, I'm done. I'm going back down to that boulder-filled river, and Robin just shot his hand down there and grabbed my hand and just yanked me up on the road. I mean, he yanked me up with the meat on my back, my whole body and everything, and I'm standing there, I'm like, my mouth is open, I'm looking, I'm like, holy shit, you just saved my life. And he goes, whatever, let's go.
So what you're saying is a bull wasn't the only one that was full of adrenaline.
Oh, man, I'll never forget that as long as I live. I'm like, I was done. I was toast. I was going backwards. Everything was given out underneath me, and his hand came down and grabbed me. And it's not like he struggled to pull me up. He just yanked me up onto the road. I don't know if my feet even hit the ground.
Is that about how you remember it, Robin?
That was it, yep.
And you've been on his tab ever since,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Everywhere you go.
I got to know, so who took the picture?
I think that was one of those
Bob-
we set it
Bob
on
or
rock.
my dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
My dad and my dad's friend was there hunting with us.
And then they didn't help you carry it? I'm confused.
Well, they did.
They did,
We
yeah.
shot it because we hunted together. They came in the next morning. This is the next morning after
Right.
we shot. And then we packed it out after that.
Right.
Yeah, during the
I
day.
remember I wired up a little sleigh to
Yeah.
drag a whole bunch of meat down at once. I don't know if sleigh is the right word. What's the, and the natives would pull a thing behind it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like a sled.
Kind of like a sled, but there's a name for it, and I'm sorry, I can't remember. But we piled a bunch of meat on there, and we got that meat down to the bottom. Did they come out? Did they come the same way we did?
Oh, yeah, they came down and up that way.
Yeah. Holy cow! Well, my
Only
memory.
once.
Yeah.
Did you end up having to save everybody then, or
No,
just Tom?
the old guys made it. We went down the river a little ways where the hill wasn't so steep.
Right.
Remember that?
Right.
Going out, yeah. Once we found out where the road was.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad I got that story out. I'll let you guys talk for a while now.
So tell me, Robin, in all this passion that you have about elk, what's your most challenging hunt that you've had? You know, the one you've had to work the hardest to get success and punch that tag.
That big bull that was on the picture there, the biggest I shot.
The 7x7?
No, the 6x, that was a 6x6, the one with rifle that was just on there.
Sure.
That was the hardest. I hunted literally 8 days. This bull right here, I wasn't just hunting. I was hunting any bull, a spike, anything, and I usually, not bragging or anything, but see more elk than anybody because I put more miles on. Mm-hmm. Well, this year I put twice the miles on, and I was just but it's called persistent. The last day I told the guys, and I wasn't bummed out or, you know, you like to see animals when you're hunting, but I had persistence, and I seen more elk the last day than obviously than I did the whole week because I didn't see any. But and I killed him on that night, and it's just that was probably the hardest one.
That was a tough thing when we were talking about that trip that I came with you guys, my first actual hunt. It seems like 4 or 5 years ago now. But just being out there, and admittedly we didn't put the same amount of miles on that you did, clearly, because you're just a beast. But we didn't see any elk other than the one that you jumped.
Right.
And got to see just in passing as he was running away. And you said he was a spike, though, right?
No, I think it was like a 4 or 5 pointer. Just got a glimpse of him.
Because you said spike that day.
Huh?
You said spike that day. Were you just saying
Did
that
I?
so you didn't feel so bad about it?
Well, I don't remember.
Okay.
My memory
The
sucks.
spike's not legal in Colorado. It's got to be
4-pointer
4 on
better.
one side, yeah.
I don't think they're
Yeah,
legal
what's a
anymore in
spike?
Idaho either.
Spike is just a deer or an elk with one horn on each side of his head.
A literal
Yeah.
spike. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. To the point. Hey, is this Tom in this picture with you?
No.
Tom-
Yep, that's the one where we pulled the head out of the
Yeah.
hole he was talking
Oh, this
about,
is a different
yeah.
one.
I'm
Okay.
on the
And that's
far right.
Steve,
Okay.
and that's my buddy Todd. He died here
Oh,
last year, the year before. 50 years old, just had a heart attack.
Yeah, sorry to hear
Sad
that.
deal. He was a great friend of mine, and he was one of the great hunters too. He hunted hard. Yeah, we miss him out there.
So that's Wooger on the far left.
That's Steve.
So you got glasses on?
Probably.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he does.
It looks like it. It looks like
Really?
those really thick,
Oh, yeah.
sexy ones.
shooter glasses. Maybe
There
he
you
has
go.
shooting glasses.
Oh.
On. I
He's
don't know.
he's pretty highfalutin, you know.
High maintenance.
He's got his sniper glasses on. So that one there, was that a archery or is that?
No, that's that big one that I shot. Actually,
okay.
the one I just told you the story about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I can see why that would be one of your toughest hunts because it was a long week of hunting.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Where that elk died.
Yeah, he was
And
down
if
in
those
a
of you
hole.
that aren't familiar with what a hole is, if you're in the mountains, there are some areas that are just referred to a hole because they're so far down in and they're so inaccessible. It's way down in and way back up.
Where
Yeah.
is this? 'Cause this is beautiful.
Yeah, that's Colorado.
Yeah, that's that big meadow. Huh?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I know that meadow.
Yep.
This is like poetic.
Yeah, I brought that one just for the picture to how cool
Well,
it looks.
thank you.
Yes. And the country out there. If nobody's ever been elk hunting,
I feel like you're talking to me.
the country is so beautiful, you know,
Yeah, it is.
and that's what it's all about.
And
you
that's
know?
really,
yeah.
I don't know if it's like 40% of the whole trip.
Yeah, I could walk through the mountains for the whole week and
Yeah.
not see anything, but there's other animals and noises, and
Smells.
yeah, it's just beautiful out there. We call it God's country.
I always tell my wife Emily, I say there are 2 places that I always feel closest to God. One of them's the Mass, and the second one's out there in the mountains.
Yes,
You bet.
absolutely.
Yeah, we bow our heads whenever we kill an animal, give thanks, and it's amazing. You know, in the opening credits where that moose was, did you see the moose? in the opening credits when the gentleman's singing our theme song.
That was Mitch Gordon, by the way. He's a friend of ours.
Okay, who's singing?
Yeah.
He thought that was me. I was like,
I asked if it was you.
maybe back then. I used to do a little of that.
But when he and I set up with a decoy in one of those meadows, one of the upper meadows that runs parallel to the trail, that moose, I spotted that moose, that one.
So that is Colorado one when we were out there.
That's when we were out there. That's when Shay. Well, that moose, I called him from about. No, that's not those two moose aren't the same, Danny.
Oh, I know that, but I made it
okay.
look like you got that moose.
It's the intro video.
Yeah, I have to show how badass you are. I was like, that's the moose that he didn't shoot, and that's the moose he did shoot.
But that's Shara's moose. I saw him 200-300 yards away, and I started grunting and doing some cow calls. Anyway, he came on a rope.
With your mouth?
With his mouth.
All right.
He came on a rope, and he just hung around me.
That's how the moose says to the girl moose, "Hey, baby."
Hey, baby, how you doing?
Come on now. So, his first hunting trip, that moose walked from me to you.
Oh, he shot that moose then?
No, he didn't shoot it because we were with you.
Oh, the Colorado one. Yeah, that's
that
only
moose
elk
walked
hunt.
right in front of him, and he's never been that close.
That moose was like
Never
less
saw
than
a
10
moose.
feet from me, and it was huge.
It's exciting.
It was.
So I thought, well, that right there makes the whole trip.
Oh, yeah. And you got a picture of it, too.
Well,
We got
it's
video of it.
video.
I was
He hung
videoing
out
it with
for-
my cell phone until he walked right up next to me, and I was like, I better put that shit away.
He hung out around a half hour. I pulled back on him, and I put my bead on him, and I let down, and you could be in the cooler
Oh, they're
if
good
I was an
eating.
outlaw. Yeah.
He was, like, after the moose walked off, we got connected again. We were on the opposite sides of a mouth on the base of the meadow. And he's like, man, I was sure hoping you weren't going to shoot it. And I'm like, I don't have a moose tag.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's my first hunt, but I know that
I know
much.
what an elk looks like.
I know, and I should have assumed
Is
that,
that
but
an
you
elk?
can't
I'll just
sometimes
shoot it.
assume anything,
Just shoot
'Cause
it.
you
We'll
hear-
figure it out later, Robin.
Yeah, no.
We'll sort it out.
You can't take anything for granted. It's his first hunt, and I'm like, well, he's never been exposed to elk or moose. I hope he doesn't think that's a big old elk. And he didn't.
It would have been funny, though. I mean, not funny because game warden would have been all over me, but funny to, call these guys and be like, hey, we need help packing meat out, and have Robin show up like, what the hell? That is not an elk.
It's a nice elk you got.
Robin said, okay, you're on your own on that one. See ya.
I want nothing to do with this one. Matter of fact, you guys aren't camping with us.
Is there a difference between elk season and moose season?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not only do you not have the tag, it's not the season for it, right?
Absolutely.
Getting a Shara's. So, Danny, there are 4 subspecies of moose. You got the biggest one, which is an Alaska Yukon. There's the Canadian moose. Did I say 4 subspecies? There's 3 subspecies. No, there is. No, there's 3 subspecies.
Tell me the truth.
Alaska Yukon, Canadian moose, and Shara's moose.
Okay.
That moose right next to you in the studio there is a Canadian moose. But the biggest one is the Alaska Yukon. The second biggest is a Canadian, and the Shara's is the smallest. And when you say small, you look at the size of that animal, you're like, small? But actually a big Yukon moose, Alaska moose, is almost twice the size of those things. So it's a lot of meat.
And it's good meat.
I was just going to ask. And
Love
it's good
moose
meat?
Moose is very good. That's one of my best meat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have not tried elk, so if anyone wants to, bring in some elk,
Did you
that'd be
bring
great.
an elk with you?
No, I don't have any left.
You don't have any in your bag? Or your,
You don't
or your
raise it.
pocket? You're the Elk Whisperer. What? I
elk
feel
turkey.
let down.
Well, last year, I have to say, we did not kill an elk rifle or bow hunting for the first time in 36 years.
Where did you hunt both of those then?
One, Colorado was one, and Idaho was the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you weren't in a good area?
We seen bulls, and some guys missed,
Okay.
but we just didn't. We didn't connect on one, which is fine. We still had an awesome time both places.
Do you still
Yeah.
camp in the same place in Idaho?
Yep.
And has it gotten Colorado's gotten really overcrowded?
No, people
Is
are
Idaho
leaving.
still good?
They're leaving more. Less elk. People are leaving,
Yeah.
going somewhere else
Yeah.
where we hunt.
In Idaho, same thing.
One of the things I'll compliment both of you on is, and Tom and I have had this like conversation about the party hunt system, and that can mean a lot of different things. But one of my favorite things about hunting with guys like you is that everybody shares the meat.
Oh, yes.
And so if
absolutely.
you get some, like you'd only get one animal down, then everyone's going to get a little meat.
Yep, absolutely.
I remember when you gave me the test.
The test?
Well,
He
what's
gave me
that?
the test.
Was it written?
No, he said, so what do you think what are you going to do with that meat, Tom Katt? And I looked at him and I knew it was a quiz coming from him. I said, we're going to split it equally, all of us. He says, that's what I was hoping you were
Good
going to
answer.
say.
Yeah, when I
Oh,
shot
yeah.
that antelope, he tried to make me keep it all because it was my first kill. And I was like, no, you're at least taking backstrap and tenderloin.
Take something
Oh,
to
love
taste.
antelope.
Yeah. Do you really?
Oh, love it. A lot of people don't, but a lot
never
of people
hunted
don't
them.
take care of it. You get that hide off, you get that antelope cooled down, butchered up.
Soon
There's
as you
nothing-
kill it.
As soon as you kill it.
yeah.
You don't put it in the back of your pickup truck and show your buddies in town. You get the hide off and you get it cooled down, and there's nothing on this planet better than antelope meat.
What do you do to cool it down? Just take the hide off?
Ice.
That's the cooling?
Well,
Oh,
that'll
ice.
help. That
Okay.
helps. That's a big part of the equation. Getting the hide off right away, getting the guts out, get the hide off, and then cool it down with cold water or ice or whatever you got. Some people don't like to get water on their meat. I found no issue with it. So if you can cool it down.
You never get any water on your meat, TK?
No, he doesn't have an issue with water
about
on his
soap?
meet. It's other people.
Some soap in your meat?
Oh, I got a
Other
little soap in my hole and it just stings. Stings.
You're going to edit that one out of there, ain't
No,
you?
I'm keeping it.
Stings.
Who's this?
It stings my soup can.
That is my daughter in Idaho. She was 14. I took her elk hunting.
And how old is she now?
She's 32 now.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Wow.
2 kids, but she loved going out there with Dad.
We took her up to northwestern Minnesota.
Yeah, on
Couple years.
Tommy's land. She
Yeah.
shot a couple deer up there. Yeah.
She's a trooper, man. She just hung out
Yes.
with all the guys. And
Did she get anything this trip?
No, I don't think we did. We might have got one, but yeah, it was a lot of snow, and it's just cool to take pictures of that. We were back, and there's nobody back there. We were back 4 or 5 miles back down a trail.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
If you want to get serious about hunting, you got to go at least a mile from the
Yeah,
road.
absolutely. I don't start hunting until I'm a mile back. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you can see animals or kill one close to the road, but I usually just hustle back a mile, then start hunting. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not too many people have legs like yours.
yeah, stumps.
Which
Roofing.
Which brings me to another story.
Okay.
Robin and I were in Idaho the same year that he shot that 5-pointer.
Why don't we prompt him and see if he can tell the story?
Nah, he'll fuck it up.
Can you swear on a thing? Or
Yeah, you
what?
can.
Oh my
No,
goodness!
I can. You can't.
No,
I was
you
gonna
can.
say,
Tom can't.
I was like, we've been on this thing for almost an hour, and you haven't dropped an F-bomb yet. Are you feeling okay?
I already tuned myself to do things right. I think I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing a
Actually,
great job.
Doing great.
I'm having more fun at this podcast than any
Yeah.
because these are such great stories. And forgive me, I'm going to tell it because it's fresh in my mind.
tell it.
He and I went up towards Gant Ridge, which is a huge ridge, above tree line,
What state's this?
Idaho.
Okay.
So we're standing on the side
Rifle,
of,
clearly.
Rifle.
Okay.
We're standing on the side of a mountain on a knob, and we actually got a tip from a game warden that there were some elk up in that country, and so we glass and we see this herd of elk, and it's on the next mountain, and I'm like, and Robin's getting all excited, so I'm like, okay, what do we do? He says, well, we got to go all the way back down this mountain. We cross that river, and we come all the way back up that. And he didn't say it this way. We go down that mountain, we cross the creek, we go over there, and we go up that mountain. And I'm like, what? And so
Yes.
I'm the new guy, and he's kicking up rocks as he's running down the mountain, which I don't advise anyone to do. But I'm struggling to keep up with him. So we get down to the river. We got to cross this river. Now we got to go up a mountain higher than where we just were. Mm-hmm. And we're going up the mountain. We're going up the mountain. We're going up the mountain. We get to this area, and I'm just, he's not breaking a sweat, and I'm about dying. And so I said, Robin, I got to stop. And so we stopped. I remember the stump. I sat down on the stump.
Well, I got a question for you.
It was a rock.
A rock, yeah.
Were your nails dirty at this point or no?
Oh, gosh. Probably all torn up from grabbing. I assume you're talking about grabbing rocks. And what are you talking about?
That's a joke for Robin and I. That's
right.
okay.
So anyway, we stop. And we're just catching our breath. And this cow walks about 20 yards from us. And I'm
She
like,
barked at you?
she's looking at us.
Right there.
She's looking
They
at us.
do.
She's like,
That's
maybe 30 yards.
That's like a warning to the...
Absolutely, yeah. If an elk barks at you.
Yeah, well, that's what I was coming to. I'm like, I said, Robin, do they have a distress call? And he looks at me and he goes, they bark like a dog. And I am like, what?
As soon as he said that, she did it right.
She barks at him. I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh. So she takes off, and Robin takes off after her, and he's on a game trail. And I'm like, okay. So I start. I mean, I can't even walk anymore. So I kind of go after him. I get down there a ways. I don't know how far. And all of a sudden, Robin comes to me and I'm like, come on. And I'm like,
he has to come back down the trail to get you.
Because it's my turn to shoot an elk.
Robin, why don't you hook up a tow rope?
It's my turn.
I had one, yeah.
He'd already shot the 5-pointer. And it's my turn, and we have a decent elk. We don't know exactly what it was.
Sure.
But so we come along the side of the mountain, and it's now we're above tree line, and it's all grass. And he says they're right over this knob. And so I'm like, okay, let me catch my breath. He says, nah, come on. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I mean, I just thought of this part of the story.
Your heart
right
must
now.
be racing at this point.
Oh, I'm dying. I'm excited, but I'm dying. I got no air. I mean, we're up above tree line. I looked down, and there was a crucifix in the ground. I mean, it wasn't a branch. I
remember him telling me that.
It was like this. It was like
a cross.
It was a cross cut into the dirt.
Because cross and crucifix are...
Yeah, whatever.
Jesus or no Jesus. It's pretty simple.
I know. There was a cross in the ground,
okay,
and
thank you.
Wow, that's a sign. Anyway, I crawled up, and a sidebar to the story is I left my clip in the car. So I'm feeding my semi-automatic one bullet at a time, right?
Old school.
Yeah. So we crest the ridge, and there's this beautiful 4x4, which is on the wall right behind me.
Oh, this guy here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
European mount there.
I laid down, and he was broadside. Hell, he wasn't 100 yards, 80 yards maybe, and bang. And he started going down, and I hear another bang. And Rob's like, I'm just making sure.
We ain't tracking him anywhere.
So that was
wonderful. Then
if he's going to run, he ain't running far.
Yeah.
That was my first bull. It's right there.
Was it
behind
really?
me. Yeah.
That one was? Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first elk.
So he probably didn't go too far then, right? 2 bullets in him.
No, it didn't.
When
go
the
far.
300 Weatherby hit him, he didn't go anywhere.
Just plop right over.
Yeah. It was done.
Yeah, my shot was fatal. His shot was.
Oh,
just,
it was. I just didn't want to trail him in
just
the mountains.
join in.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that long,
There it is.
extended,
Beautiful, yeah.
erect thing there on the?
That's
picture?
my finger
Oh.
making sure we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Or maybe something else. Who knows, right?
Yeah, who knows?
Isn't that a beautiful 4-point?
It's very symmetrical the way he's got that
Yeah.
turkey fan, and then he's got the elk, and then he's got that deer in there.
I'll give Tom something. He's got style when it comes to decorating. I'm just
I
saying.
decorated my restaurant. I should have been a decorator.
I don't know about that, but you do a good job.
Yeah, he should have been.
All right, let's not go there.
So real quick before we go to break, Robin, one of my favorite stories about you in particular that I experienced was that hunt when we went out to Colorado, and we get up there to kind of the entrance to get back into where we were in the where the trailhead is, and there was a note on the post out there. Do you remember what you wrote on the note?
I wrote something on the note?
Yeah, you wrote a note. It wasn't a love note. It's just a regular old note.
I don't remember that at all.
Let's get her going.
Yeah, it was like something along the lines of, "Hey, celebrity, we're already up here."
Oh, for you guys,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mean. Yeah.
Celebrity.
It was so funny. So then I had to ask him, I was like, what's the deal with this? He goes, he always calls me a celebrity. And then right away, he points at me because he's driving at that point, points at me, he goes, "Don't you feed that."
Oh, Joe Baker called you celebrity. Remember when we were hunting
I
together?
know.
Me, you, him, and Dave?
You
Joe.
always call me. I'm like, what are you calling me that
Celebrity.
for?
He's a celebrity.
Well, I tell you what, boys, as much fun as we are having, and I know we got a lot more stories on the backside, maybe a few that Robin will tell too.
I have one that I have to get in before we're done here.
You can tell us, man.
Not now, but after the break, because I got to take a break here.
Yeah, we're going to, per guest request, we'll go ahead and take our break. We're going to get the sponsors in here, let them do their thing. But when we come back.
I'm also out of whiskey, just saying.
Okay, that's not good.
You
We'll get a
need
refill.
more. There's plenty here.
There is. Yeah, we get plenty. So anyway, but before we go to break, real quick, if you're watching this right now, you're listening to it, do us a favor. Make sure you pinwheel that like button and make sure that you're sharing, commenting, and checking it out on all the different platforms that we've got. I mean, Facebook, Spotify. We just now started a Twitter and a TikTok because we're trying to be all young-like, even though we're not young-like.
Trying to be hip.
Hippity hoppity. So anyway, so we've got lots of different...
Anonymous.
Hip-Hop Anonymous. Adam Sandler. Anyway, so we got lots of different options for you to listen to or watch this podcast, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes with Robin the Elk Whisperer. Boots and Backstraps is proudly brought to you by Homes by Shayne. Make your move with the Homes by Shayne team. Commitment to community and unparalleled customer service are the foundation of this RE/MAX Results referral-based business. Their driven team of experts communicate with their clients every step of the way, ensuring a memorable experience from the first conversation through your closing day. Go to homesbyshane.com. Let's get you home. Welcome back from the break, you guys. Yeah, you're walking into some pretty good humor here. It's like right before the camera rolls, we're talking about the, it's not genetics, but...
Wombat.
My
ex-father-in-law had 3, so...
I always like to say it's like having a 2-bedroom apartment with one renter.
All the nurses had to come in and see.
Yeah, that reminds me of a great joke.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I'm done talking.
Let's hear it.
I've shared. You want to hear a joke?
I love to hear it.
All right, let me make sure I get it right. There was an older guy, a gentleman in a hospital bed, and he's laying there, and this young, what do they call him, a candy striper, an intern, a young lady comes in. She said, the old guy says, young lady, he had an oxygen mask on. He was in such bad shape.
I know this one. Go ahead.
He said, young lady, could you please check and see if my testicles are black? And the girl says, well, sir, I don't know if I'm qualified to do that. And he says, it's very important. Please check and see if my testicles are black. And the girl says, I'm just an intern. And I said, maybe I should go and get a nurse. He says, just take you a second. It's real important to me. Would you please check and see if my testicles are black? And she thinks to herself, well, if I'm ever going to be a nurse, I guess I have to get used to this sort of thing. And so she said, okay. She gritted her teeth. She pulled down his bed sheets and pulled up his apron or his gown, and she filled her hands with his testicles, and she moved them around. And she says, no, sir, they're not black. They're very impressive, but they're not black. She put them down, put his gown back down, pulled up her sheet. And the guy looked at her, and he pulls off his oxygen mask. She says, thank you. He says, that was very complimentary. He says, but listen very carefully. Will you please check and see if my test results are back?
Whoops.
Yeah, oops.
Okay.
That's legitimately my dad's favorite joke. Just saying.
It is a good joke.
There's a big dog coming in.
Yeah, Ace Man. Ace just made a cameo on the podcast. That's his first one.
I don't know where he's barking at. It's my hunting lab. I guided for many years up at Wings North with Ace. We're not going to get him in the camera, but anyway, he's 12 years old, which makes him 84 years old.
So, Robin, how many states have you hunted elk in?
New Mexico, Colorado.
6 for sure, just thinking fast.
And
Wyoming, Oregon, New Mexico, Idaho, Colorado. Is that 5? New Mexico, did I say? Yeah.
Yeah. How many have you had to have preference points for?
All the ones I did, we never had to.
Okay.
They were just buy over the counter.
Sure.
It's changed. I've been hunting for 36 years. It's changed. Now you got to have preference points. You got to draw. They've made it so ridiculous.
Well, that was a topic I wanted you to address.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
If we'd have been born in the 40s, and I mean, anyway, we've had many great years of hunting.
Did you just say born in the 40s?
Well, if we were born in the 40s,
if we were,
and
we weren't. No,
because
the
it was
60s.
such a great time to be a hunter.
Use your horse and buggy to go back and get your elk.
But talk about your feelings of the changes. It's like you need a law degree to figure out the rules and regulations and the preference points, and it's gotten so expensive. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I don't like it. And the people in the other states that live there, the locals, think they own the mountains, which they don't. Whoever pays taxes owns all the federal and government land. We all own it, Mm-hmm. But the people in their own states, you come over there, they're locals and we're non-residents, and it's got ridiculous. They think we don't belong there.
Yeah.
And,
especially in Montana.
Yeah, well, Idaho's got worse the last few years. I've had arguments with guys in the woods. They think they own the mountain. They think they own the whole mountain, and it's ridiculous,
Yeah, it's a sad deal. It's gotten to a point where, the DNRs in all the states, and they're not referred to as DNR in all the states, but game and fish, whatever it is, they're always complaining about hunter retention. The kids are not getting into hunting. Well, what kid can afford the licensing these days? $1,200 in Montana,
$700 in Colorado, and that's the cheapest one.
$7 now, yeah. $600
many
in
years,
Idaho. We paid $6 something again this year.
Yeah, for many years I paid $250 in Colorado, and they had to up their rates. And the money's one thing, but you're making it so hard where there's less and less public land to hunt on, and fewer places for people to buy a license over the counter. I'm just saying, from my perspective, I wouldn't want to be a teenager with wide eyes hoping to get into elk hunting or sheep hunting, heaven forbid. Any of the mountain hunting, mule deer. Mule deer is still reasonable, but it's tough, man. It's tough. I don't like it. I know you don't like it.
It's gotten worse over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And the wolf kills, the fires, the bug kills, it's getting harder. It used to be easy to elk hunt back 20 years ago and even 10 years ago, and now it's just getting harder and harder.
I used to go up on the Missouri Breaks up in Montana, which is a cool place to archery elk hunt. On the south side, you could buy a tag over the counter. And I guess I went 3 or 4 times out to the Missouri Breaks. Had just fun. I mean, just saw lots of animals. Met some really cool ranchers. Just for the giggles, I was in Steve Woog's office last year. I called out to Montana, and I might be incorrect, but it's like 13 years of preference points just to get an archery tag
in that
where
area.
We used to buy them over the counter. I'm like, holy cow. And it's a very isolated part of the world. There's nobody up there. I mean, the towns are teeny, and there's... Anyway, that's my opinion on it. But I was hoping to get more from you.
Yeah, it just changes every year. The price goes up, and there's less tags. So Idaho, we used to buy them over the counter.
Yep.
This year, 4 or 5 of us applied, and 1 of us got it. The tags were gone in our area in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And so we went to a different zone, which we are. We're going to go in on an airplane fly in the back of the mountains. Yeah, it's going to be, and I'm kind of glad.
Like a little puddle jumper?
Yeah, well, whatever. We can have 1,000 pounds for 3 guys.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to do it. I heard they've done it years ago. You hear about them flying in with helicopters or airplanes back in the middle of nowhere. Same as they do in Alaska.
Right.
And I love elk hunting, That moose hunting, caribou would be great too. But I'll do the elk hunt, so we got a fly-in elk hunt this year, which is...
That's
it's
exciting.
Cheap. Yeah, it's cheap too. It's only $375.
Wow.
And then to pick us up is $375.
But you're splitting that, right?
Splitting it 3 ways. Yeah.
That is cheap.
So I mean, I'd give the guy $1,000.
That's $750, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for 3 guys. That's not even nothing. That's a tip.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
it's just. I'm glad we found it because we were looking where to go.
it's $250 a guy for the weekend.
Yeah,
Or the week.
Yeah, for the week. And if we get an elk, then it's another $375 because they got to haul that out separate.
Yeah.
For the weight. But yeah, that was a good thing we found. But getting back to the way things are going, it's terrible. They're cutting back on tags. The locals are all thinking they own the land, and they're complaining to the Fish and Game.
Yep.
And it's just ridiculous.
And the Fish and Game, to their benefit, I guess, they do want to appease the people that live in their state, and I get that. I mean, I understand all of it.
What about our fees? Our fees are way more. Who pays for the...
Yeah.
Our fees they pay $30-some, we pay $600.
It's
what
crazy
would you want?
different.
What would you want?
Yeah.
Plus, like I said earlier, we all own the land too. Just because we don't live there, we own it.
It's federal land.
Federal land, government land, we all own it, Mm-hmm.
And Lord knows we all pay our taxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the taxes haven't gone down.
No, they keep going up.
Should we talk about that for a while?
No.
No, I want to hear Robin's story. Robin said, I have this story. And I said, well, don't tell me until we're recording. And now we're recording. Robin, this is your moment.
Throw the picture up, and then I'll start the story.
Picture first?
Well, yeah, I want to see.
I kind of like how he bosses you
It's got to get my
Danny.
mind here.
I do too.
Inspiration.
I'm not mad.
Get some inspiration on the screen there.
All right, I got you.
So this is my daughter here and her husband.
So how old is this photo?
Oh, Stumpy's 3, 4. So this is like 4 years old. And this is my daughter, Taylor is her name, and I nickname her Stumpy.
Okay.
I have from ever since she grown up. She was a short little one. Anyway, she's elk hunted with me when she was 12.
Look at that bull.
So she elk hunted 4 or 5 years with me, and when she seen us kill some big ones, and right along, she couldn't get them because the situation didn't happen, and she was a little upset. So I told her, and then the tags in Idaho, it was a good thing for child mentors. They're $100 for an elk and a deer tag, which I think they still have that, which is a great thing because you want to get the young kids out there these days is the biggest part of it, So I did, and I buy the kids their tags when they were 12 to 17. And so she was over 17. I think she was like 20 here. And that's her husband? Yeah, that's her husband. My son was hunting with us too, Hunter.
Okay.
And they were all over 17. So I bought their tags again. I said one more time, and they're $600-700. I said I'll buy one more, and then you guys want to go again, you buy your own tags.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What state is this in?
This Idaho, where I've hunted for 36 years there.
Okay.
So Taylor calls me up. My daughter calls me up, and hunting's coming up. And she said, Dad, I don't know if I can go. I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, I'm pregnant.
Oh. It's a nice way of telling you.
Well, no, that's a cool thing. I said, no problem. I said, you told me early enough. We'll either call up the Fish and Game, get our tag back. But here's what you do first. You call the doctor up and ask him, tell him we walk 5 to 10 miles a day. And I think she was about 3 months pregnant then.
Okay.
And I said, call the doctor up, see what he says. Well, she called the doctor up. Needless to say, he said what I thought he would. Have at it. Exercise is good.
Yeah.
So, and I told her, and I guided her to this one here, and I told her, I am going to hunt my rear end off until we find one for you, because this probably be your last time for a while.
Yeah.
And so we went hunting that morning. It was opening morning, and we were back about 4 or 5 miles, and it was getting late, 10:30, kind of getting past the morning hour of hunting, the good time. But
you're thinking they're going to start bedding down.
Well, I never give up, and it's like opening day is the best day. So I kept calling, and 10:30 in the morning, this bull calls out, starts bugling. And then we got excited. It was one of them, the eyes got this big, and hey, we got to go. So we literally, I said, he's up there. You could hear him. He's over 3/4 of a mile away. We took off down the hill, and we ran, and she's right with me. She was one of the, even better than some of my friends hanging with me. She could run right with me and never. She wouldn't even. I'd be huffing more than she would be.
You weren't talking about me, were you?
Yeah, you were part of. You were one of them. You were one of them. I looked at you.
You know what they say about celebrities and their cardio.
So we literally worked down, and it took us over a half an hour to get up close to the herd. And they were still bugling. I had them bugling. There was 2 big bulls in that herd, and we got up and we pinpointed the one, and she pulled up, and her husband and my son were about 2 miles up on the other ridge away from us, and she shot and hit it the first shot, and it whirled around, and then we literally finished it, and it came within 75 yards of us and dropped.
Wow.
So it was a great experience. She was 3 months pregnant, and
Wow.
so I call her Stumpy 1, and she had Stumpy 2 in her belly when she shot that one.
So here's the real question. She knocks a bull down. Obviously, you help her get it,
Yeah.
all butchered up and ready to go. Did she have to carry meat out?
Oh, no, we didn't have to do. We might have carried some, so let me finish the story. Don't butt in, Tom Katt.
Ah, oops. I'm going to turn my mic off.
So I want to talk about the guys. I want to talk about the guys. My son and her husband. Obviously, they're just ecstatic because they knew if they hear shooting our way, Taylor's going to be shooting one. So they were running after the first shot, and we look around and they ran 2 miles in about frickin' 15 minutes.
Wow!
And they were right coming up the hill when we walked up to it, And so that was a funny thing. So, we cut it up. We deboned it. We took some back. We got the wheeler close to it, 300 yards, and the guys packed it down on the wheeler, and me and Stump went back. She couldn't have a beer, but I did. We went back to camp, and they had to finish packing it out. And so then I told them, so it even gets better. I said, there's a whole herd of them there. I said, you guys should go down that ridge about a mile and work that ridge back. Because they asked me, what do you think we should do tonight, And they didn't even come out, They were staying in there.
You got the herd right there.
Yeah, well, they went down the ridge, and I know where they go. And I said, go down there. Well, we're back at camp, and I've had a few beers by now, and Taylor's all excited. She's got hers down finally. And,
I'm sure her grin is just ear to ear.
You could see the smile on her face in that picture.
Yeah.
And my son-in-law and my son come back, and they shot 2 bulls that night. Yeah,
wow!
Right where I told them to go, and so that was kind of exciting. They shot 3 the first day on that one ridge.
And it's just the 4 of you out there?
No, there was like 6 of us out there.
I was like, that's 2 more bulls. That's a lot of work.
Oh yeah. It was good. They were smaller ones, 4x4s or raghorn ones, but they're good eating,
Absolutely.
And that was my son-in-law's first one.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things, right, Robin? Doesn't matter how many points a bull's got, meat's still good.
The meat is good. You put the horns on the wall, not to brag about it, but it's a story. You
Yeah,
know?
it's a memory.
You want to look and, hey, that reminds me, like Tom Katt said, hey, remember that was 30-some years ago, that one right there that we were talking about earlier.
That's right.
Yeah, so that was my story. I had to get that one in.
And knowing
It's
the
an
kind
awesome
of
story.
knowing the kind of hunter you are, I am absolutely positive that when you experienced your daughter shooting that great big bull, that was as exciting or more exciting
than me
any
shooting
bull
one.
you've ever killed.
More excited.
Yep.
When anybody comes out that hasn't killed an animal, a deer, elk, or anything, to me, when I bring them out or kind of guide them, show them a little bit.
Yep.
It's just it's more gratifying.
Yeah.
When someone else kills one, because
I've learned that in my old age when I take out young kids, whether they're my nephews or kids that I'm mentoring. Watching them kill their first turkey or their first deer is like,
absolutely,
or their first bear or whatever. It's as exciting or more exciting. Probably more exciting.
It's more to me when someone else gets one. I'm more.
Yeah, you're that way.
Yeah.
We've known hunters in our past that aren't that way.
No,
and that's
you don't want to be greedy when you're a hunter or selfish. You want to be a team player.
You want to be a team
That's
player, and
what
you want to
it's
be
about.
just as happy for. If I don't get anything, and if we're hunting together, if I don't shoot anything and you do, I'm celebrating.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating as much as you are.
And the camaraderie of a hunt or a fishing
Absolutely.
or even a camping expedition, any one of them. It's the camaraderie is the big thing too,
Yep.
Having fun, sitting by the campfire and
Yep.
talking stories like we're doing now. You
Yep,
know,
yep.
we do that all the time. If we could have a microphone and the camera at the campfires,
It would never get on the air.
oh yeah.
I tell you what.
you could edit a few things, but there's a lot of
No,
great,
it'd all be
great
edited.
things. Yeah.
We're that's one of the sort of like one of the next steps of this podcast is we're going to start filming hunts when we go out,
Yeah.
so we can start mixing in some of that footage into what
Absolutely.
we do, and including this upcoming week, because this episode will air this coming Sunday, as they always do, and that same day you and I will be heading out west to
Yep.
go chase antelope,
That's right.
speed goats.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Got our practice
All
in.
tuned up, are you?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could always shoot. Tom Katt can shoot pretty good.
And we
Yeah, you
got
can.
those.
even with his 1.5 eyes.
We got the new. What are they called? The decoy that he mounts to your boy.
The ultimate
Mounts to-
predator.
The ultimate. Got an
Mounts
antelope.
to your bow,
one.
the antelope one.
I've
yeah.
seen enough video to convince me that is cool.
Did you get one yet or no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got the
Yeah.
decoy.
We got 4, just because Tom is like a kid in a candy store, and this is what he wanted the last few years. 4 different decoys now. We got his regular decoy that we used when I shot my antelope.
Yep.
Then we ended up buying like Montana decoy, just a cow, sort of pasture cow, whatever we can use to try to get close.
They work.
Then we got
Yeah.
the antelope hat. So it's like an
Does that
antelope
have
head
horns
that
on
wears on
there?
your head.
It's got
Horns
the,
on there?
It's got the horns and
Half of the head, eyes,
It's
the
like
whole
the
thing.
head's cut down. But if I'd have had that darn hat on last time we were out there, and I snuck on that big buck, I got within 30 yards, but he could see me. I could see his horn, so I knew he could see my hat and the movement. And if I could have just had that antelope hat on, he would have just maybe been a little calmer. But he bolted, and I swung on him. And
So now we got the bow-mounted buck
Yeah.
decoy.
Yep.
You
Walk
have it.
right up
Like,
to 'em.
you should bring it in.
We have it.
I know. I saw it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Tom, you shot with it, didn't you?
yeah,
And how'd you shoot with it?
just fine. Dialed right in.
It
They're so light.
and there's a cutout, in the center of it.
can
You've
see,
seen them,
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
see
it
your
doesn't
sight
affect your
and
sight at all.
Stabilizer goes through it.
So if you're shooting like you're supposed to shoot, where you're focused through your peep and your sight, you don't even know it's there because it is really light.
I'm looking at the boots and backstraps list over there, and I'm seeing we've covered a lot of the topics. Robin, have you got, if there's some young guys that are watching our show today, and you got any tips for them? I think you gave them one of the best tips that I could recommend is perseverance.
Be persistent.
Perseverance, be persistent, be patient.
Yep. Don't ever give up.
Don't give up. Yeah. And I guess when it comes to calling elk, he's taught me how to bugle. He taught me how to
Call
the
is
cow
one of the
call
best.
is
yeah.
we've got our
Don't be
call.
afraid to call. Call all you want. I call all, you know that.
Well, Robin's aggressive when it comes to elk hunting.
I was just going to say there's really 2 different, with elk specifically, 2 different methodologies. You got to go somewhere and park it, where it's a water hole or it's whatever it is, or you got the run and gun guys like Robin, where you're ripping off bugles and you're moving and you're
Calling and bugling constantly.
I've
Yeah.
read a lot of articles about guys that are more passive and patient, but the proof's on his walls. He's aggressive, and he gets after them.
You see a lot.
And
have
I've
a
been
lot
with
of
you a
action.
number of
Yeah.
times. At one time, I shot at one with a muzzleloader. I didn't hit it because Robin was
Pulling them in. Go
shoot him as he's tugging on my shirt. I'm like, let go of me. We've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, tips. Any tips and tricks you got? We would love to have you just drop some knowledge bombs here.
Yeah, that's the calling. Don't be afraid to call. You hear guys say, don't call. You spook them. Well, I've seen more elk than anybody and shot lots. And,
Probably more than most human beings.
More
Unless
than
they live
the
out
guys
there.
that we're with. But
Yeah.
then I call for people. The last 10 years I've been calling for people. And, you just call. It works. It works. Don't sit there and try to sneak up on an elk on crunchy ground because it ain't going to work.
Yeah.
You got to call them in, and it pinpoints them, and then you can sneak on them, depending on what you're walking through.
And you're checking wind, right?
Wind, check your wind, have a wind indicator, have a puffy wind indicator in your pocket.
The wind's the worst.
Yep, that'll kill you every
I've
time.
Lost
Yeah.
more elk to the wind. You probably have too.
Yeah, If he's gone, the wind shifted and hit the back of your head.
Yep.
Play the wind, And then hunt, the elk they're in drainages. Drainages have grass all year long, north-facing slopes.
In the summer or when it's warm.
Yeah.
South-facing when it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and drainages, I hunt 90% drainages where I hunt in every state, rifle or bow.
Are there times of the day you've had more success?
Evenings and mornings are always better.
Yeah.
But I've killed one of the biggest elk in the afternoon, They're there. They're not all laying down, and especially during the rut.
Right.
The one Steve Wu got, that big one I called in, we had hunted our butt off all day, took a nap for an hour, at 12:20 I called in that bull for him. 12:20 in the afternoon. Came in screaming.
At that point, you're thinking they're bedding down.
Well, no, I know they bed down, but during the rut, they're chasing. They're running around, chasing the cows, looking around for the females.
Right, yeah.
So, during the rut time, and that's usually September 8th to the end of September.
Yep.
You could hunt all day and have action. I've had it. I've hunted all day, and you're not going to get them if you go back and take a nap or sleep. We take a nap in the woods because we're too tired. We need a nap. And then
sometimes we take a nap and we put up a lean-to and we put up a fire and we munch on backstraps.
Yeah.
And then we pack the rest of it out that night.
Yeah.
Those are some good memories.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. My beautiful bride wrote something on the. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, tips for packing out. So once you actually get an animal down, and you get the meat all put together, like you said, you debone them and that kind of thing. Any specific tips you'd offer for folks, and you got to get that meat out?
Well, we use a frame pack, as you've seen the ones we're in, and some people don't like it, but we use a garbage bag. But the thing is,
for a while,
just to put the meat in, so blood don't get all over. You walk out, whether it's an hour to 2-3 hours, you're fine with the meat. But once you get back to the truck, to your camp, to the four-wheeler, take it out of the bag and put it on the ground on a tarp, air it out right away, and then you hang it in game bags, obviously. Mm-hmm. But we used it, and you could put a game bag in your pack and clean the blood out when you get home. That would air it a little better. But we use bags, but we get them out quick, and boom, it works. Yeah. We have never lost any meat by doing that.
There's a photo of
that's
Steve.
The packs. Yeah, that's the packs that we use. And they got meat in their packs with garbage bags.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand exactly because a lot of people say, no, don't use garbage bags.
No.
Don't. Well, you can use them temporarily.
We're going to, so you take an hour. It might take you an hour to get out, hour and a half, whatever.
And then you get them in your game bags, the cheesecloth of the game bags.
Well, once you knock one down, you don't got to be in a hurry getting out.
No. You debone it, lay it on tarps. It could sit there all day on the tarp. Mm-hmm. Or all night until you come back and get it. Yeah, we've deboned them at night, came back in the morning and got them.
Aren't you worried about predators coming in? And
we've lost some.
Sometimes.
Yeah, Steve's, that one there, the coyote's got the rear end on that one. But we didn't find it till the next day.
Do you remember what happened when we were butchering Steve's elk?
Oh, me and you went chasing that one.
We had another bull coming in on us.
Yeah.
And Robin's like, calling.
Let's
and
go get him.
I saw its legs, and Robin's thinking in the back, geez, I hope he don't shoot another one. I
we're
don't
going
know
to
if I
have
two of them out. Because we were way up in there. But that was a pretty exciting deal.
I would have wanted you to shoot it. Yeah.
Was it a good bull?
Well, I
Tell.
didn't see the horn, but it was a bugling one. So
I caught a glimpse of his feet.
They're usually pretty good if they're bugling, screaming at us.
Yeah.
What do you got here?
That's Robin and Steve and myself, and
that's
a 5x5 you killed.
When we 5x6.
That's the one we went when Robin says, "What do you mean you're going into town?"
I got the story.
All right.
So one of my favorite days is a Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So these guys, Tom Katt's always, I got to go to town, take a shower, and wash my clothes and stuff. And I'm thinking, I'm elk hunting. I got to change of clothes, and I can take a shower.
Don't be dumping that on me. It was the guy I was with that wanted to go into town.
Hey, I got the floor now. Hang on a minute. So anyway,
Jill shut his mic off.
So it's raining. So it's raining out too, and that's the reason we slept in. So we had breakfast in the morning. And these guys, come on. I said, no, I'm going hunting. I don't care if it's raining. So they left and it quit raining. So a couple hours later, I had the second breakfast. I was hungry.
All right.
And I grabbed my bow and I go, this is the best time. After it rains, if you want to go elk hunting, don't be afraid to go when the rain's stopping or right after it rains. You can walk through the woods quiet, for one thing. Mm-hmm. And they get rutted up when they get wet. They like it. Anyway, so I go up the trail, 45 minutes, and I got 2 bulls bugling at me. So I get on the trail, and the one comes out, and he's about coming. I called him, and he came right in at 15 yards, and I couldn't get my bow back on him. So he kind of sensed something. He went out, and he snuck out about 25 yards, and I finally got my bow back, and he went right to the spot where I could shoot, and I hit him, and he took off, and it went about 200 yards, and I found it and gutted it out and went back to camp, and I'm sitting there at camp. I got my broken arrow, and the guys come driving up from town there, and I got a beer in my hand, and I'm flipping my arrow like this. Tom Katt shaking his head. He goes, "That bastard shot one, didn't he?"
So you were all by yourself.
All by myself. They all went to town. I go, "Dude, you can't do that."
Yeah, there's 3 of us. Yeah, and I totally agree with you, but, sometimes it's all right to go into town and have a little snack and shower. And
No, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I've eaten enough tag soup. I am done going into town.
The more you go in the woods, the better your chances are, obviously.
Yeah. I will live in the woods.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, do you think you could do my makeup like that? I mean, you're just saying.
What did she say?
She wants you to do her makeup like that.
Yeah.
I want you to do my makeup like that, okay?
Camouflage, yeah.
Come on over here and kiss my ass. Country song. There's an old Willie Nelson song about doing your makeup and kissing my ass.
Well, I know we let Robin have some airtime here, Tom, but we'll pass it back over to you because one of our bullet points here to talk about tonight is your first date with your beautiful bride.
This is a great story.
And it involves Robin.
And I apologize if I consumed too much of the microphone tonight, but I am excited that Robin's here, and we've had so many great hunting stories to share, and I know if I let him tell the stories, he wouldn't get them right, so I had to jump right on in there now. Come on. Anyway, this is just a life story and one of my favorite stories. I was dating a young lady that I ultimately married. And
what was her name?
Lenny Pooh. Lynn Kitty. And Robin and I were just coming back from the elk hunt. We had 4 elk. His dad, myself, Robin, and was just your dad's friend,
Bob. Yeah.
He wasn't your uncle, was he?
No, it was Bob,
Yeah,
Dad's
Bob.
friend, yeah.
How many guys were on the trip?
4 of us.
4 of us, yeah.
Oh, so everybody
Yeah.
punched their tags.
Yeah.
Everybody got one, yeah.
That's great.
And so we're going to go over to Bob's house, and we're going to butcher all these animals, right? And I'm thinking, okay, well, God, we're going to start like 8 or 9 in the morning, and I think we should be done by about 6 o'clock. Well, so I had Lynn, I gave her the address, and Lynn met me at Bob's house, and we're all covered in blood. And
Hold on a second now.
we're cutting up.
You've never gone on a
This
date
was
with
her,
her.
This is
his
our
first
first
date.
date.
Yeah,
You're
see,
skipping
you
past
forgot.
that very important
I wanted
part.
to hear that one.
Yeah, forgive me.
I remembered.
Yeah, this is our first date. I met her at the club, and that's another story. But, she's like, yeah. So she met us at that address, and she comes into the backyard. Man, we're up to our elbows. And I'm thinking, we're not even close to done. So I'm kind of apologetic, and Lynn says, she just took it all in stride. She rolled up her sleeve, and she got in there.
Jumped right in and started
Jumped right in
helping.
and helping us packaging. I was on the grinder, I think, if I remember correctly, and I'm grinding burger. And she's there packaging it. I'm grinding it. She's packaging it. And we've got a mountain of meat. 4 big elk is a lot of
That's
meat.
a lot, yeah.
So by the time we were done, I think it was 10 or 11
My mouth is
o'clock.
watering right now just thinking about it.
I think it was 10 or 11 o'clock by the time we got done. And she was still there with it. And not only did she show up, she showed up looking like someone right out of a magazine.
Absolutely.
She was all gussied up and looking good. And
So all the guys were like, "Who is this?"
especially his dad. Oh, yeah. Old Richie. No, it was a great, and I think Robin might have been the first one to say to me, "You might want to keep that one." I know I've heard that a dozen times from a dozen different
100
friends.
times you probably heard that one.
So
Outpunted his coverage there.
That was a great story, and that was my first date with a woman that I've been married to for 30 years now.
Chopping up elk.
Chopping up elk, man.
Like, you can't get a better sign that that's the one.
Yeah.
And she rolls up her sleeves and is like, let's get right in the blood. Yeah, that's amazing.
That was kind of the way it was, isn't it? Yeah, I think he's got
Did
it
I
right.
miss anything, hon?
Especially for a guy like this who's so passionate about hunting, to have a woman say, I'll be, like, without saying it, that she's going to support your habit by just getting in like that.
You know what she always said to me? We're all used to the kind of husband and wife scenario where the wife's nagging the husband because he's going hunting and blah, blah, blah. And my wife always said, I'd rather see you doing something you're passionate about, something healthy, bringing home food, being out in the woods and God's country, rather than seeing you hanging out at a strip joint or in a bar pulling pull tabs. And, I mean, I think she's always said, I think it's great. And she'd always send me little notes on all of my trips and
make her cookies.
Oatmeal and raisin.
Best cookies
all
ever.
All of my friends know about my wife's oatmeal and raisin cookies.
Do they ever?
She'd show up at bear camp up in northern Wisconsin, and all the guys. That was always funny. She'd show up all gussied up because she's a beautiful woman, and these guys aren't used to seeing a beautiful woman, so their jaws would all open, drop down, and wonder what she's doing here. And then we'd let our hair down and dance on the pool table.
Dance on the pool table.
I'm not going to lie. When I met Lynn, I was like,
We've got
you
pictures.
And her? What?
We've got pictures, half naked on the pool table.
Uh-oh.
We'll keep that for the private collection.
You might edit that one, won't you?
Oh, Robin, any other fun hunting stories? Because I just love listening to you talk about your adventures out there in the woods, and you've had so many after putting your 40 years of hunting. Any other just real crazy or fun hunting stories you got that you can share with us?
Nothing that'll come to mind right now.
Okay. What about like Hunter?
I got a million of them.
Because I've met your son, Hunter.
You want one from him? Oh, boy.
Yeah. I
you
like
want
Hunter.
Another quick one?
Yeah.
Hunter's great.
Hunter is my son, and he was 16. And
built like a brick shit house.
Yeah, I used to take him hunting until he was 14, and then I put him on his own slowly at 15. And 16, he's all by himself. He's as big as Pops, and thought he was as smart as Pops, too, with his mouth. But anyway, he's a great hunter. So the same place they were when Taylor shot her bull, he went up to that ridge one morning, and he sat down and had a sandwich. And me and my buddy of mine were up on the ridge where Taylor shot hers. And we hear the shooting, boom, boom. We heard 3 shots. And we got the GPS walkie-talkies. So we jumped on the walkie-talkie right away, and all we can hear was, I got one. Hunter was all excited. He shot a nice 6x6. And the story was he sat down to have a sandwich, and he did a call. So don't be afraid to call when you're having a sandwich, going to the biffy, whatever. Do a call anytime. He sat down, had a sandwich, just got one bite out of a sandwich, did the call, and this bull bugled and came running right in at him. Then he's 16, and it came 75 yards away, and he shot it. The funny part about it, he was so excited. We could hear him on the walkie-talkie. He just, I got one.
Oh, that's a great story. And having hunted with Hunter, what an outstanding young man he has become.
Absolutely, yes.
He, I don't know what to say about him. He's just a great kid. Hard hunting like his old man.
Hard hunting, a hard worker. Yes.
Yeah, he's a great kid. He's going to do well in life.
Yeah.
And did he not just have a child?
Yep, 4 months ago, I had a little baby boy. So.
Oh, congratulations!
And he named him Kodiak, is my company name. I told him, why did you do that? Well, Cody, I guess, for a nickname.
Sure.
But yeah, so I got another little hunter coming up. So. That'll be cool.
Well, you got to stay in shape now. You got to take care of that one, too.
I'm going to work on that a little bit.
Just when he thought you could hang it up. No.
Well, Robin, I would say that, I wouldn't be the hunter that I am today if it had not been for your friendship. I learned a lot from you. I've had so many great stories, and I just want to thank you for being there with me and taking me on some of the hunts that I've been on. And we've had a lot of fun deer hunts, and you're the kind of guy that any hunter would be proud to hang out with, and I'm one of them guys, and I know Shayne is too.
Agreed.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah. There'll be more. We'll have more.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I ain't retiring, and I know you ain't.
We're just going to move a little slower, but we can still wiggle through there is all we got to do.
There's nothing wrong with going slow.
No, absolutely not.
We can go slower and maybe even smarter, but I know you're aggressive. I probably still can't keep up with you, but I look forward to more hunting trips with you in the future.
Absolutely.
I think the best thing about his nickname being the Elk Whisperer is how much he bugles.
Yeah.
So he's not actually a whisperer. He's an elk bugler, right?
That's what you call ironic.
Yeah, when we said Elk Whisperer, I said, there ain't nothing whispering about Robin.
I'm on my good behavior today.
Yeah,
Tom Katt
you are.
knows.
I don't think I've heard you cuss once, which is really weird to me. I almost feel like you're not you. Like,
What the fuck? Did you
there
want me
it
to?
is.
Did you want me to?
There it is. I tried to warn the girls. I was like, the guy's the most experienced elk hunter probably on the planet, but he's got a mouth like he just got off a submarine for 6 months.
A lot of people don't like to hear that stuff. I know if they don't like to hear it when we're hunting, it don't mean nothing. But I'm sorry I said it here on the line here.
No, you're good. You are just fine. Well, I tell you what, we're going to bring this plane in for a landing here, boys. So as we said earlier, folks, make sure that you comment, like, and share on all the stuff that we have. All of our social media platforms helps the algorithm, especially when you leave those comments. Make sure that you also do us a favor. If you got questions, comments, and snide remarks, send those to bootsandbackstrapspodcast@gmail.com. And we're going to have a lot more fun, not just with Robin and our hunting adventures coming up, but other guests that are on the slate as well. But TK...
We might have to have Robin back for
sure we will.
The Elk Whisperer 2.
Yeah, part 2.
There's a lot more. And I like to add in, if someone wants to call and talk, or if you give them my number, if they ever they're going to do, they could call me and I could give them
some pointers.
I've learned a lot of stuff. I don't know it all, but I've learned a lot, and I could teach them a lot in a short time.
That's great. Fantastic.
So that proves you're a good hunter, because we never know all. We never get to a point where we know everything.
Well, in life,
and if anyone ever in life too. If anyone thinks they do, well, they don't.
You want to learn. You try to learn something every day in life and hunting, whatever. Yeah.
That's right. Well, folks, thanks for joining us this week. Whether you're belting out your favorite country song or out there pursuing your favorite game animal, I encourage you to use that same passion to pursue the Lord. He will teach you to shoot straight. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week.
The hunt is on, looking for backstraps, way deep in the woods. Tracking in a swamp to a hay field under the harvest moon. When the tags are filled, it's time to switch up our boots. Head down to the honky tonk, get us a swing dance or two. We're talking about boots and backstraps.